Hey guys, welcome to the project. This is official video number 1. Today's video, we're going to go through the bike, give it a real good clean, because it's still covered in all the barn stuff that was on it when I received it about 2 weeks ago. We're going to go through the bucket of parts, including the carburetors, and overall check out, see what's missing, and what kind of condition things are in, so stay tuned. Alright, so I was just kind of giving things a once over, and I figured we start here with, I don't know exactly what this white stripe is painted around the rear tire, but that doesn't look factory. I've been told these are the factory tires that came on it, so I don't know what that deal is. Overall, there's not a ton of corrosion on this motorcycle. You can see some in here. The rear shocks and the rear springs, but it feels like it's only surface. Those should clean up. Some things that I've been seeing on the forums and elsewhere is that these plastic rear shock caps are generally in bad shape and they're hard to come by, but those are in excellent shape. Italian-made shocks. Let's see if we can get it in there. Obviously need to replace these. There's some fasteners here and there that are pretty rusty, but overall it's in really good shape for where it was. And get a flashlight and get in there. And so fortunately, he had closed the intake ports with a plastic bag. That appears to be intake valve on the right side. And the left side. I think that is a choke cable. Yep. Choke lever right up there on the handlebars. Let's get the tank and the seat off. Didn't come with a gas cap. I know I showed this in some pictures. There's what the inside of the tank looks like. Overall, it doesn't look too bad to me. Although my experience with tanks, rusted older tanks at least, comes from YouTube videos and forum posts. This is the first one I've had to deal with, so relatively, I think what I'm looking at is pretty good. The tunnel appears to be the worst. That's what was left open to the elements. But the inside itself, looks like there's a liner in there that's chipping off. We'll see. The paint looks like it could clean up pretty well, but I don't know about keeping the detail. 82, 83, they had gone to vinyl decals, and bubbles and wrinkles were already fairly common out of the factory. And this has not taken the age very well. The hand-painted pinstriping is still in pretty good shape, but the plastic is pulled away over time. There's a lot of scratches and wrinkles and bubbles in it. Badges are in great shape. Those should clean up really nicely. I would love to keep these. You know, the goal is to get the bike in mechanical, electrically sound condition, riding condition, and ride it for a little bit, just kind of looking as it does now. I think keeping the patina on it would be pretty cool. I'm not skilled in restoration, at least to factory condition. Never tried it before. And I would hate to do something that would be faux pas with a bike of this rarity. Obviously not going to chop it up. Some rust and pitting on the front fork tubes. Evidence of fluid leaks down at the bottom. The front wheel doesn't turn real easily, but it does turn. I think that may have to do with the brake, front brake. All of the main hardware is present, including the key. So I'll be getting a battery hooked up to this at some point. 2550 original miles. That's crazy. There was something clipped here. The switch gear is not in great shape. Everything is very, very tight. Start button is good. Throttle moves freely. Choke lever moves freely. Same deal over here. Switches are very tight. But those should clean up pretty well with some electrical contact cleaner. This plastic piece here in the center of the gauge cluster is in pretty poor shape. The plastic just got brittle over time and flaked away. Have to see what I can do about that. Let's get the seat, which, by the way, the original seat's in great shape. Let's get the seat and the tank off and see what we're looking at underneath. Well, I pulled the seat catch lever here, and the seat had already been unbolted. There's one hinge here, and the other is missing. You can see where they should have been attached, here and here. So I'm gonna have to source one of those. Goes here. Here's the back one. So it'll look just like that. And that just kind of slides on. Original sticker. Vehicle emissions information. Battery box looks like it's in pretty decent shape. This is this rubber? Believe it. Yeah, it was rubber. Battery strap. That'll need to be replaced. Very cracked, very hard. It almost feels like leather, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be. I'm guessing this is a relay. Airbox. Now it didn't come with any rubber boots, both to the engine or the airbox, so I had to order those. I found some really good information on those in the forums from a guy named Chase. Apparently the Bing Amal carburetors that are on these TSXs are the same ones that they used on a lot of BMW motorcycles. So I found a BMW dealer that I got the correct parts from, as well as some replacement parts that I know I'm going to need, springs and some things that have gone bad. But electric start, that's going to be handy, but it also does have the kick. Always wanted a bike with a kickstart. Does turn over, does have compression. Alright, let's get the tank off. See evidence of some mud dauber nests. I'm really glad that he had blocked those intake ports with plastic to keep them from getting inside there. The tank was not bolted down. It's got the through bolt in the tab on the frame, and the cap is here, but no nut. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do there. So this is gonna need a real good clean. I had to get all this hay and barn material and whatever this is off, so we can get a real good accurate lick at the shape of things. Let's get a view from this side. All this rubber is just shot. Shift boot's all split. It does shift. I ran it through the gears earlier. I have been advised to go through the engine and replace all of the seals and gaskets, all the rubber. They're just, in these older bikes, especially after sitting in one spot, the rubber goes hard, goes bad. So, oh, look, my dauber nest. Right up in the wires, nice, as well as a corpse. All right. Chain isn't about the shape you would expect it to be in after sitting that long, unprotected. So, all right, let's get it cleaned up and see what we're looking at. All right, I just finished going through everything with a shop vac, and that actually got rid of a lot of it, all the organic matter that was jammed down in all the nooks and crannies, well, most of it, and there's some I wasn't able to get to. But the next step is to go through it with brushes and soapy water, and let's see what else we can get done on this. Bring you right back when I'm done. Let's see how this tank cleans up. Figured you guys might want to see how this works, see how this looks. I'm curious to see. Just got a sponge with some soapy water here. Oh man. Yeah. I am going to be doing whatever I can to try to keep this original paint color, I think. That is beautiful. There's a kind of a spot of oxidization right here. I don't know if something was sitting on it. Just that one spot. But that is a beautiful deep red. I gotta figure out how to save this and what to do about these. You can see that kind of flake right there. That's the kind of stuff that I don't want anything to happen to it. If there's a way to buff, polish, to restore this red to its original deep color with flaws. I mean, it's not supposed to be perfect yet. I'm not going for a full factory restoration just yet, but I do want it clean and I want it functional. I wonder if there's a way to clean this up, get this glossy without damaging this. If I can, I don't know, clear coat over that, or just to protect it for a little while until I get the project to the point where I'm ready to start on a full factory restoration. But the rest of it's cleaning up real nice. I was able to get all of that organic material out. The aluminum is unblemished. It's in great shape. The starter motor didn't have quite the same finish on it as the side covers did, so there's a little bit of rust in there, but not a lot. So let's keep going. Be careful around that fragile bit of plastic that's on the front gauge cluster. That thing appears to just chip right away as soon as something brushes it. That's in rough shape. But the rest of this is cleaning up pretty easily. That layer of dust that builds up over time that adheres to things. You can't just blow it off or brush it off. To really get this clean, of course, with everything, I'm just going to have to fully disassemble it. I'm not quite at that point yet. Just want to get an idea of the general kind of shape everything is in. See what needs to be replaced. And what can really, for all intents and purposes, just kind of live as it is for a little while. Things I'll need to pay attention to, like brakes. Take, for example, this front brake. The casting here is a little chipped, and the paint is chipped away from it. And I guess this is the front master cylinder. It's a little rusty. This has been peeled back from the front brake banjo. So, the previous owner must have at some point tried to do something with this. It was probably around the same time that he pulled the carburetors and everything off. That was a number of years ago. We'll be going through those in a minute, but he gave me a bucket. Well, most of the parts that he took off. Like I mentioned, some of the parts weren't there, like the rubber boots for the carbs, and it's missing one of the gaskets that goes around that, the metal piece. We'll go through those in a minute, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep cleaning. You can see on this front wheel up here, on the brakes, there's a lot of grime. I'm not sure what that came from, but that's pretty dirty, but it's like everything, it's coming off pretty easily, just with some elbow grease. The most important part is there doesn't seem to be any corrosion underneath it. The aluminum's in really good shape. Very light surface rust on the brake disc, but I think that'll come off. Should be able to polish that off. Really, the worst of the rust is right here on the front left fork leg. So I'm gonna have to do some research on what exactly to do about that. Haven't really dealt with a lot of rust in my time, but I'm sure a lot of people have. So I'm sure there's going to be some good advice in the forums and maybe here in the YouTube comments. That'd be great. I'm very new to this, so if any of you guys have some good advice, I'm all ears. Seems like a lot of the pictures I see of these old bikes, the indicators are all broken and bent, but front and rear, these ones are in great shape. So I'm thankful for that. Of course, I'm very pleased that I've received a mostly, assembled machine. It's in great shape. Most of the pieces are there. I just got to do something with it. Do it some justice. All right, I'm gonna get back to cleaning. All right, let's take a look at the bucket of goodies. Let's start off with the side panels. They're in much the same shape as the tank was. You can see where the plastic is really bubbled and is peeling away. But there are no cracks. The rubber is definitely going to have to be replaced. You can see where the paint is spiderwebbed around this one, but there's no actual cracks around that, so that's good. And they're both in pretty much the same shape. This little rubber guy is a little bit better shape than the other one, but they both need to be replaced. There's less bubbling in this one, but it's still peeling around all the edges. It came with one air cleaner, and I'm not even sure. There's it's a Unifilter, NU3005 or 6, not sure. I only came with one of those, and I'm not even sure that that's the one that I need. Here is one of the metal airbox sides, and only one of them came with this rubber seal, and that rubber feels like it's still in pretty good shape. It's soft. I don't see any cracks anywhere in it. So this one's probably good, but I'm going to need to source a second one. Here's the other one that doesn't have the rubber filter or the rubber grommet. They're both in good shape. Carburetors. 2 Bing Hamal carburetors with little paper number flaps. This one's pretty stiff. That moves pretty freely. This spring, and this is the choke, I need to work on this. The gasket behind that is missing. When I got it, this had already been removed. It in the bucket. So the surface is clean. The choke itself, it turns fairly freely, but I can feel some resistance in there. So I'll probably disassemble this, do some cleaning, lubricating. I did get a carburetor rebuild kit from that BMW dealer that comes with this gasket, and the 3 additional screws that I'm missing, it only came with 1. Let's see if we can get this open. There we go. That gasket, of course, is rock hard, but I've got replacement gaskets. But more importantly, there's some crap in there, but really not much. So I'll be, probably the next video will be going through the carburetors, replacing the choke on this one with the gasket, getting that fixed. The spring that goes to this was broken. I found it in the bottom of the bucket. This one is badly rusted. I've got a replacement for that as well. This carburetor had been taken apart in the bucket when I received it. I had just briefly gone through and taken a look at what was there. The rebuild kit comes with replacement diaphragms, so I'll be replacing that. The needles seem to be in good shape, or at least this one does. So this one is really just going to need a real good cleaning, lubricating. This is the shape that this was in when I received it. It was sitting in the bucket upside down. Floats moving freely and just all like this. So we will get back to that one. Speaking of, here is the box of parts that I ordered from that BMW dealer. There's those 3 screws. Those are the throttle return springs, choke return springs, float needles, gasket kits. There you can see those choke gaskets and the 2 diaphragms. So next video, here are the 2 rubbers that I ordered that go from the carburetor to the airbox, I believe. And then I also got the 2 that go from the carburetor to the intake. I still need to get the hose clamps. Don't have those yet. Here is the other carburetor as I received it. It's in similar shape. The throttle, although the spring is very badly rusted, it still does work and it moves very freely. This one, the little paper on it's not as legible. 5953 and 4945. A little bit more grime inside this. I don't think it's corrosion, it appears to just be grime. This one does move a lot better though. This rubber hosing is rock solid. The choke on this one is stiff. You can see where that spring is corroded to the point where it is separated in the middle, but it does return, kind of. So I'll have to replace the gasket in that, but I'll be pulling this apart, cleaning and lubricating that as well. In the box was another carburetor. I don't know what this goes to. It's not in great shape. I believe that's the choke. But it looks like it goes to a small engine. So, no idea. Brake covers, I believe these are. Yep. And one of them has the sticker. This one is in much worse shape than this one. But I do have them. One mirror. I don't know if this is an original mirror. It's not Triumph branded. Looks like it says BUM, B-U-M-M. Here is the brake lever that was removed, probably an attempt to free the front stuck wheel. Here is a hose, but more importantly with the clamps. No, again, the hoses. It's hard. There's no using that, but the clamps are there, so that'll be useful. Here is that old choke gasket. This is what I'm assuming is going to be the carburetor brace. I believe this is going to end up going to the pedcock. There's a hose clamp of some type. Copper pipe. That doesn't go. I think this is the petcock. So that slot is probably going to line up with that hole. Something like that. That's going to go in there. And this will attach probably this way, actually. Looking at the lettering. Yep. So I have a petcock that needs to be cleaned, and assembled. I gotta look at, there's bound to be some gaskets in here that I don't have, so that's gonna be interesting work. Hey, look, no dubbers. There's a bunch of stuff in here that I don't think even goes to this. I think these two clamps are the ones that went on the handlebars. I remember seeing two spots on the right side of the handlebars. So it was missing clamps. I bet this is them. A rubber stopper, I think. Does it match this one? Yeah, so this one will go to this airbox cover, probably in there. And that's pretty much it. Tiny little hose clamp, some odds and ends, but nothing vital. Who knows, maybe the gas tank nut, which is missing, is in here somewhere. Here's that broken choke spring. So that's the project. Bench full of parts. The bike cleaned up real well. Real happy with that. All that crap came out. Aluminum cleaned up nicely. That exhaust is nice and shiny. Got a couple of parts still to get. I'll need to get that rubber grommet for the air box. I'll need to, well, identify if that was the right air filter, but probably get a new one anyways. I still got to go through the brakes. There's a lot of stuff mechanically that I still need to do, but good news, even without doing all of that, I have the rubber bits that go here. I believe I have all the parts I need to mount the carburetors on. Hopefully next video we can see if it'll run. But until then, the project awaits.